Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another. Wait a minute. I can't do it like this. I feel like there's something missing. Hold on. Let me get myself right here, man. Let's try this again, man. I think I'm ready now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudrico Live. Hudrico Live. Hudrico Live. Hudrico Live. Hudrico Live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudrico Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Hudrico Live. I'm your host, Hudrico, and today we are so blessed to have the founder and creator of Sohoodie. Oh yeah, we got him on. We rocking him. And the face. I mean, cause you can't have a brand without a face. My man, AJ Greene in the building. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing this evening, man? Thank y'all for taking y'all time to sit down and come on holler at old Hudrico, man. How y'all doing this evening?
Gonna get me heamed up, you know what I'm
saying? Hey, listen, since I don't have a hood on me, there's only one thing I can say. Ah oui oui.
This is off to a great start.
Listen, man, already starting off to a great start. First off, gentlemen, thank y'all for taking the time because I know y'all busy scheduling. And if you guys have not seen these two gentlemen on social media, I don't even think they live anywhere because they from Kansas City to football tailgates to high school games to here to there. Do y'all even have a residence anywhere? I mean, are y'all ever home?
Man, I'm here right now for the next 24 hours, and I don't know where I'm going next.
And then you off to the next.
Yeah, man, I'm either going to Virginia, Texas, New Jersey. I don't know where I'm going this week.
And listen, I know you get lots of requests.
Boots on the ground. We call boots on the ground.
Yeah.
So
gotta get out there, man.
You getting out there and getting things going, but let's talk a little bit. Mike, let me start with you. Sohoodie, tell me about this brand. Where did this come from? Where did you get this idea to birth?
Yeah, no, it's a pretty unique story, Trevor. You know, from dating back to around 2017, we had this concept of, look, all these athletes wear a Gatorade towel on their head, and why are they doing it? What is the reason for it? And it was really just, it came down to one, a swag thing, right? It was swaggy, it was cool. And two, the overall purpose to keep you cool or, to keep you warm, one or the other. So from that aspect alone, what we saw directly was it's not only football, it's a lot of sports, and it's from the college level, all the way down to the youth, to the pros. So we kind of had the foresight to say, okay, let's just take a towel, cut it up like a hood and see where we're at. And from that, we kind of built the patent around it. We understood that this thing would need, some drawstring, snap. We, as you can see, we had a back tail flap to it. So everything that we did to create it was kind of useful for the impact of it being, just a hood. And then from that point on is when we kind of had like this ha-ha moment. When we saw Cam Newton wearing it all season, or Steph Curry. And we said, this has to be targeted to athletes, right? Mm-hmm. But in order for these athletes to want to wear something that's cool, we got to have the pro guys, wear it first. And this was a time where, we're a startup. So it's really just like going on the fly, trying to figure out how this can fit into the world of sports, where it really belongs. And we were fortunate to be in the era of social media, where we can get instant access to certain, individuals, having them see it or be able to send them a certain direct message and they'll get it directly and see exactly what this is. As I would say in the past, a lot of marketing really wasn't done that way. It's more so over the phone or infomercials. But we were really in your face and kind of like a grassroots marketing stream of just getting it to as many people as we can so they can understand what this is and, how it can kind of survive in this world of sports. So, in time, my partner, Matt, myself, and a couple other people that were working, making the hoods were early on just sending them out to as many athletes as we can. Guys that, previous played like Warren Sapp, Braylon Edwards, Edgerrin James, guys that would see it for what it is and hopefully help bring it to that next level, which today, looking, as to where we are, it's pretty incredible. And I'll get into AJ and how he's kind of, brought us to light and everything that he's done for us. But in a nutshell, we've gotten to over about 200 professional athletes, over 50 collegiate teams, and we're actually in about 15 to 20 different states for youth football. So for right now, it's kind of just like a snowball effect. And, a lot of people say, well, is it just for football? Is it, it's you built it in that area, but is it just for football? And the answer is no. We're kind of like the best explanation would be, we're in a 9-inning game and we haven't even thrown the first pitch yet. So that's kind of like how we see this product. Eventually we want it to be for, people that do construction, people that fish, people that want to hunt, people that swim, all different types of uses. Because at the end of the day, it is still a hood, and people wear hoods, for various reasons. So that's kind of the gist of it.
Well, I have to tell you, Mike, you have finally made it, because your hood has made it to Hudrico Live. There is a Hudrico Live hood. So therefore, you can sleep easy tonight knowing you have reached the top echelons of where you're trying to get to. Now, you started this company, and then you bring in my man, AJ Greene. Now, me and AJ, y'all, I don't know if let me tell you how we met. He was at a game.
Oh, God.
He was at a game in Miami. And I'm going to tell you, this is real life action here. In my head, I'm like, who in the hell is this dude on the sideline? He ain't on the coaching staff, but he is mighty close. And now he handing stuff out. And then after the game, I asked one of my kids, I'm like, who is that dude? They're like, Dad, come on, man. That's AJ Greene. I'm like, AJ Greene played for the Bengals or the Cardinals, or he played for somebody. I'm like, what you mean? They're like, no, that's AJ Greene. He a YouTuber. You need to get on his level. You trying to grow a YouTube channel? He got I'm like, what you not finna do is compare how many subscribers he got. We not going there, right?
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not finna do that. By the way, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. Smart look. No, never mind. Real quick. So then they say, wait till he do the video on this game. And that game we played against Miami Central, by the way, slugfest. And then we end up winning the game. So now everybody in my family, we anxious to see this video that AJ Greene puts together. So we watched the video, we watching, everybody's like, oh, he missed it. We getting all into it. And then there was a moment.
I know the moment.
Mike, there was a moment.
I know the moment.
Mike.
Gain of 6, second and 4 at the 26.
The film slowed down. I think it even changed colors. And he said, him. Well, listen, no, at that time it was him. And I said, no, he did not. And I looked at my oldest son. As he looked at his face, he was like, you ever see your child just look like he just lost everything for Christmas? Because it was him, and he had slipped. I'm just going to say that for the record. He slipped. So anyways, this is how I met this guy, right? So then all of a sudden we have a game in Arizona, and guess who I see on the sideline, y'all? AJ Greene.
I got a bone to pick.
And I beeline straight to him. I say he slipped, but he was out there again, and now I knew who he was. And ladies and gentlemen, this man tried to get me hemmed up. You see that young, beautiful hood he got on his head, y'all? See, that post been mine. He tried to get me to put it on in the middle of the game. I can't do that as a coach in the middle of the game. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, without all that extra stuff, I give you the face piece now, because this guy's everywhere representing the hood. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, AJ Greene. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Man, no, that was a good one, Mike. Man, I'm standing on the sideline. I'm with you know who. We're standing there, and I'm just looking to get some B-roll shots, and I just feel a presence coming towards me. And he's a big dude. So he walking at me. He's like, I got a bone to pick with you. Me? I mean, what I do? And he's like, that kid that you was like, I can't talk about it. I said, what about him? He said, that's my son. Man, my my soul almost jumped out my body because I didn't know where this was going. I thought he was gonna kick me off the sideline, and he starts laughing. I'm like, okay, my heart rate going back to normal. I'm like, okay. And then the game continues, and I see him on the sideline. He's cracking jokes. I'm like, man, I would have loved to play for a coach like this, man. So I see the hood. I'm like, man, I give the hoods to the players. I give them to the fans. I don't have a single picture of me giving one to a coach. So I'm like, hey, coach, I'm fresh out of playing, still trying to get back into playing. And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So I know how it is on the sideline with the coaches kind of want everything tight knit. And it was like a timeout or something. I'm like, I'm gonna just slide in there with the hood. And he's like, I can't do that. And I'm like, it's real quick. He's like, I can't do that. I'm like, we could have been done. And he's like, you trying to get me hemmed up? I'm like, wait a minute.
After the game, I got you. Like right now. I can't. You gonna get me? Look, we could have been done. We could have been done. You gonna get me here now? We could have been.
It's him.
Him.
You guys, it's him.
Him.
Like him.
Come on, let's.
Him. Yeah, go ask your son about it.
Okay. Oh no, you. No, you. We're gonna have to go to a commercial break.
He heard it firsthand.
Oh, okay. Hemmed up. Okay, hemmed.
Him. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, I would love to play for this guy, man. And then, when you presented me about coming on the podcast, I said, yeah, I got time. Let's do it.
Well, listen, first off,
you having us on here,
it is truly an honor to have both of you, man. But AJ, a lot of kids see you and they really are just enamored with you because we live in a world. It's different than when I grew up and when you guys grew up. Wasn't no Instagram and Snapchat, which I'm kind of glad it wasn't. I'm glad I don't think But now social media is really definitely taking over, and a lot of these kids have taken a liking to you, and everybody flocks. Oh, it's AJ Greene. And then they see the hoods, and everybody wants to get a hood because I can tell you a lot of the Gorman players that have that hood still wearing it to this day. You see them come out of the locker room. You see them going to games now, still wearing that hood to this day. So the love is still there, which also goes to show the quality of the product because it's durable, it's lasting. Shout out to So-So Hoodie. Big plug. So-So. Hey, wait. You know what I'm saying? All that good stuff.
I can't believe I don't have mine on right now.
We're going to have to, party foul. We'll get you together. Don't worry about it. Hey, matter of fact, I'm going to send you a hood. How about that? I'm going to see what I did there? So, but anyways, a lot of kids look up to you, man, but a lot of people don't know your story. They just see you and they just know you as this YouTuber, but I guarantee you there's more to it than the YouTube guy. Here's a question for you. Who is AJ Greene? Where did you go or where did you come from to become who you are today?
So I went through high school in New York, and I'm sure, as you know, high school football in New York isn't really that well respected because they don't see the competition as what it is. So going through high school and everything, I drove to Jersey every week to train because I knew that they didn't respect the level of competition. So I would train in Jersey over the weekend. And after a while, a lot of the guys there, they got offers from, Alabama, all the big time schools. It's like, yo, where you got offers from, man? I'm like, nowhere. And they're like, bro, you got to transfer. You know what I mean? But at the time, that wasn't really financially possible. So I kind of just seen it through in New York, ended up going all state and everything. And I went through college, transferred around a little bit for various reasons. And going into my last year, I ended up at a Division II school in Connecticut. And as the season was wrapping up, it didn't go the way I wanted. I had decent film, but it wasn't nothing eye-catching. But I had very decent film. If I showed that to the right person, as long with the right, combine measurables, I could have got opportunity. And as I was leading up to the draft, I went and played in a bowl game down in Florida. And I got very good film from that. I ended up getting offensive MVP down there. I talked to about 9 different NFL teams, leading up to the draft, and I was hearing from the Jets a little bit. There was some murmurs that they were going to, pick me up after the draft and everything. But then when the draft came and went and there was no calls, with COVID, because COVID had hit like just right before the draft and my pro day got canceled. And as a small school kid with very questionable film with no verified test numbers, that was very hard. And, they ended up canceling all the rookie tryouts and everything that year. So sitting at home, still sitting at home because that was the pandemic just started and New York was bad at the time. So I was just sitting there. I was like, now what? You know what I mean? And like everybody else, and I was on TikTok and I was watching, a lot of the videos I liked. I'm like, I could do this.
But don't go eat. Champions made right here, right now. Get your hands off your knees. Let's go. Nah, bro, screw this. I'm done. Nah, bro, you trying to kill us out here. And no, I'm not going to chill out, bro. Coach is suck my... Let's go, boys. Touch that one. Yeah, last one.
Because like my entire life, I've always had that kind of goofy, clownish persona. There was just nobody recording it. Mm-hmm. So then I'm watching everybody, doing these things, making this impact on people. I'm like, I can do that. I'll see a video. I'm like, I've done that before. So I just started posting some stuff. And then my agent at the time had told me, he's like, yo, like, your story is very inspiring. He's like, you should share that to people. So I'm like, okay. I stayed up all night. I took a couple different songs that I like, songs I listened to pre-game, before a game. I took a couple of those songs and made a mix, and I put them all in one video, and I kind of just shared my story from, high school to where I was at. And I went to work like any other day. I was delivering cookies and Insomnia cookies. You know what I mean? So I went out to work.
Whoa, pause. Shout out to Insomnia Cookies. Fire.
Oh, you hungry? That boy hungry.
That's when you know you're hungry.
I was out delivering cookies. My phone started going crazy. I thought I was like late for delivery or something. I looked, and then it's Sports Center, my DM, House of Highlights, overtime, all at the same time. And I'm like, what just happened? You know what I mean? I go on TikTok, woke up to that like 6 million views. I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Everyone's kind of like rooting for me and everything. And then now for the first time, I got kids reaching out to me. I went through a very similar story that I went through. They're reaching out to me and relating like, yo, man, it's so refreshing to hear someone else went through that. I'm dealing with that right now. So it's great to see that you came out of that situation. And that was the first time because at the time, I still had about 1,000 Instagram followers. So when people were messaging me, I had time to sit down and respond to everybody, with paragraphs, like sit down. I was getting on some of the video calls with some of them, just talking to them. And that was the first time someone ever like looked up to me before. So like I started feeling like, wow, I just made an impact on these kids. And like I said, I was feeling like, what's next? Like, what do I do now? And then I was out training one day, and I made a video. It was like the types of players during conditioning, because mind you, I played at a lot of different schools, so I've seen similar things at every school. I'm like, yo, this is something that's consistent at everywhere I've played at. So I just made a video about it, and everyone was in the comments like, yo, I thought that was just my team, or you know what I mean? And then Then the next day I went out and made a part 2. And it did the same thing, overtime, House of Highlights, everyone was posting it. And then the real shift was when Sports Illustrated followed me and DM'd me. Like, yo, I love what you're doing. And I was like, is this Sports Illustrated? I'm like my whole life, I always pictured myself being on Sports Illustrated to play football, not making a joke about football. Right? You know what I mean? So that was the real shift of, wow, like I'm actually doing something here. I might be onto something here. And at the time in college, the way I found So Hoodie was one of my teammates was famous on Vine. So he had wore it in one of his videos. Like, he had no shirt on. He was running routes wearing the So Hoodie. And like I told you, he was famous. Like, he had his older brother was in the NFL. His dad's NFL coach. So he had money. So when I saw it, that was the first time I ever saw it. I'm like, this thing got to be like $150, $200. You know what I mean? And then he sent me the link. And I'm like, $25. I ordered 5 of them. I said, I need them. And then I saw you could customize them. And I have a little background in graphic designing. So I put together a little logo for myself, uploaded it. I said, I need it. And I started wearing it to practice. And then everyone's like, yo, where y'all getting those from? You know what I mean? And then, same thing. I shared the link with them, and a bunch of our teammates got a bunch. And then come to find out, the company is based on Long Island, like where I grew up. So I was like, what the heck? Like, there is no way. You know what I mean? And then I'm pretty sure it was you. They had DM me like, yo, I see what you're doing with the videos. Like, you mind throwing on a So Hoodie in one of the videos? So then I put on a So Hoodie for one of the videos I've been making, and then people started commenting like, yo, what's on your head? Or like, yo, what is that? I don't know what it is, but I kind of like it. And so I started seeing people were interested in it. And then obviously they seen everything was kind of just correlating. And we kind of just kept talking back and forth. And as I grew a little bit more on social media, some of the other brands started reaching out to me about, doing promos and stuff. And obviously I already knew So Hoodie for years. So when they approached me with it, that's when my priority was. I'm like, man, they were the first company to ever, see something that I'm doing. So of course, I'll show love right back. And then, as I just kept growing, not to say that the want to play died, but it started making me feel like I wanted to play football because I wanted to have a voice in the football space. I wanted to have a voice to the next generation of football players growing up. And I always saw football, like playing in the National Football League. I saw that give me the platform to do that. And then one day I woke up like, wait a minute, I'm doing that now. So at that point, I had to figure out, was it ever about playing football? And then, some days were better than others. Like every day I would get up to go train. But other days I felt a lot more determined than, you know what I mean? And then as the world started clearing up with COVID and everything, and I started seeing some of my friends that went undrafted starting to get workouts and opportunities, and I'm looking at my phone like okay, it's still not ringing, and then I'm still working out. Then I started traveling at the time with Sohoodie. I started traveling. I was ending up in Florida with a lot of free agent players, CFL players, current NFL players, running one-on-ones with them. And I'm like, not to say y'all can't get a finger on me, but I'm like, I can compete with y'all. So that was like my fresh, that was my reminder, like, bro, you can still play. You know what I mean? And then when the spring league came around, when the spring league came around, it was a developmental league. I went out and played on that team. The head coach was Jerry Rice, his wide receiver coach. So when I'm on his team and I started every single game, and he's saying to my face, you need to be on a team. That was all I needed to hear.
Yep.
I'm like, so I can do this. I'm not tripping. I'm like, I can do this. And he had sat me down one day. He said, a guy like you, a small school kind of kid with no, professional background, like, no one in my family played football. He's like, with no connections like that. He's like, you need to be in front of the right coach at the right time who needs the right thing. So I'm like, I'm going to take what you said. And I'm going to keep that in mind. You know what I mean? But then when the spring league ended, I came back home, still no calls. I just kept doing what I was doing. And to this day, at this point, I'm feeling like I want to play, of course. The XFL is coming back. The USFL is coming back. But at this point, like I said before, I'm feeling like, was it ever about playing football? I know I love football and I want to be around football. But I'm feeling like I think I low-key accomplished what I wanted out of football.
So, question for you. So, that leads me to my next question. So you said that you found your voice in other ways and you're able to make an influence on people. Have you noticed that without playing and just making these videos and making some of the comments and a lot of stuff that doesn't get recorded, you're able to make more of an influence on so many young kids now doing this, even more so than you did when you were catching touchdowns? Basically, you making more of an influence talking about touchdowns than you ever did catching touchdowns.
Absolutely, man. And Mike, you remember the moment that I realized that was when I was at the Pylon 7-on-7 tournament, and I was standing shoulder to shoulder with DeAnthony Thomas, like the DeAnthony Thomas from Oregon College, Tavon Oregon, DeAnthony Thomas. You know what I mean? I was standing shoulder to shoulder with him, and these troops of kids are coming, yo, you're AJ Greene, da da da. I'm like, do y'all know who this is? And they look at him like, no. I'm like, oh my God. That was the
aha moment.
I'm like, I cannot believe I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with the person I grew up watching his highlights before I went and played. I'm standing next to him. Y'all don't even notice him. That was the moment I said, I'm doing something here. Like, I could really have a voice in this.
You both have two interesting perspectives that I think can help two different arenas. So for you, Mike, I'll ask you this question. What piece of advice would you give a young entrepreneur trying to build a brand who may be running into some roadblocks and they may not have hit their successful stride, but they want to build this brand? They're trying to do something they feel is unique, because I know when you first start telling somebody, I'm going to make a hoodie without the sweater, but it's just going to be a hoodie, somebody looked at you like, stop smoking. So I'm sure somebody had to look at you like, you finna make half a jacket and think you finna do something. So when you meet that adversity and those type of dudes, what advice would you give that person?
To be successful, you have to be consistent. Right? Like, at the end of the day, no matter what others may think, others may feel about what you're doing, it's just about being consistent. If you know what you're doing is right and like you feel it and there's not much that tells you otherwise, you got to pursue it. And I remember early on, about the first year we started doing this, one of my buddies here in where I'm from, you know, I was like discouraged because you're really like, I was getting into like the guys in the Super Bowl were wearing it. And like, it just wasn't clicking, right? It wasn't happening, but I knew things were like, we were doing stuff that like companies would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and we were doing it for free. And I told my buddy, I'm like, man, this really needs to like happen like now. He's like, dude, listen, whether it happens now, 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years from now, he's like, it's not about when, it's just a matter of you doing it. And be consistent with it, because eventually if you do, you know, put enough work into it, it'll pay off. So a lot of that is just being like persistent, having the patience to see the good, see the bad, see the, you know, the plateaus. And right now it's exciting because we're in a really good position after about 5 years of hard work. But, you know, now we're in a position to really scale and really take it to the next level in terms of what it can be. A lot of that is obviously, you know, getting AJ's story out there and having his following come along and see the brand, because, you know, that's really what we need. We need to get it to the masses. We are a true startup. We don't have distribution like a Nike or an Adidas does, where they can put it on the shelves of, you know, millions of stores and online, you know, shops. So for us, it's about building it on the social, being consistent with our message, and knowing that, yes, we are a startup, but we want to perform at a high level, like, you know, eventually like a Under Armour or a Gatorade or a company like that.
Well, I think you guys are definitely well on your way. And I think, you know, we here at Hudrico Live are glad to be a part of the So-So Hoodie family.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Down to my guy here, AJ. You have another different perspective. Being in the football world, what would you tell that player who has these great aspirations to play college football, but basically, unfortunately, he's not getting the notoriety, or he's not getting the offers that he wants to get, or he or she, because sports is a universal sport, they're not getting the offers that they want. What do you tell that person to either keep them motivated or tell them how to refocus themselves if that's not happening?
Yeah, man, it's similar to Mike's point in terms of being consistent. You know, if you feel like you can play at that level, just keep going. Something's eventually going to shake. You know, if you're not getting that opportunity right out of high school, there's other opportunities now. And that's something that I didn't know when I was in school. Like now you can go to prep school. Not now. You can go to prep school. You can go to community college. Or if you really want to gamble on yourself, you can go walk on to a big school, you know, and you could just earn your stripes that way. And that just comes from, like I said, being consistent, you know, looking at what other guys at that level are able to produce and seeing where you could fit in with that. You know, and another thing I would say to y'all, man, is a lot of times with these big schools, it's not always you. You know, let's say you're a 6 foot wide receiver and, you know, you're just a fast guy, you know, like you're average with everything else, but like, you know, speed is your main attribute. If the school you want to go to has a guy that's already like that they might not be so quick to recruit another guy like that. They're going to want to go try to get maybe a taller receiver or a receiver that brings a different skill set. That's something that I had to learn myself. So what I would tell y'all, man, is just keep being consistent and keep the faith up.
You know, a lot of times we always don't know all the information, but we think we know everything that's in the book, but we don't know everything. We don't know all the chapters. So sometimes we have to figure that out. And that leads me to what I like to call my final time out. For my final time out, ladies and gentlemen, you've met with two great people who are doing great things, not only for themselves, but for the people that's around them. And one thing that came up from both of them was consistency. Consistency is the key to get to where you want to get to. It don't happen in one day. It doesn't happen in a week. There's no time frame. It's just results driven. So you can't tell yourself it's going to happen in 2 weeks. It's going to happen when you reach the results that you're trying to get to. So you got to keep driving to get to those results. You want to get that D1 scholarship? Keep working. You want to build that magnificent brand? Keep grinding. Just remember, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And that's the reason why everybody's not rich. Everybody's not in the league, and everybody is not you. So you got to keep working. Now, I want to thank both my guests, but before I let y'all go, Mr. AJ, we're going to need you to come back to a game because we got to get, we can't end like that. I don't know which one you're going to come to, but you're going to need to get your butt back out here to Vegas because I was going to say, you might have to come out to Vegas. The boys, we out here. We need to, I need you to know something. Since that last situationship, that's what I'm going to call it, situationship, the whole state of Nevada has been paying for it. I think the last 3 games have been over 50 with 0 points given up. It's been the problems. People are paying for that.
Yeah. Let that be known. Let that be known.
I need you to make sure that is heard. So, I asked my kids today, I say, listen, man, I'm talking to AJ tonight. What question y'all want me to ask? And everybody asks the same question. When he coming back to the game? Because we need to make sure. And they say when you come, you better bring a lot of hoodies because we putting in work on everybody.
Hey, look, if I come back to a game, if we come back to do a third Bishop Gorman game, I want to capture the whole scene. And when I say that, I mean like the week leading up to the game. You know what I'm saying? The pre-game meal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The bus ride. I want a shotgun in the bus. I might even want to drive the bus. You know what I'm saying? I go get me a little bus driver license.
Listen, I tell you what, if one thing that I think would be a really good shot for you too, definitely. And I definitely have to ask the powers that be, but coming out to Gorman more than a game, just come see the facilities because it is definitely
I've heard.
You're not in Kansas anymore. Basically, when you come on out, man, we those boys work really hard. Our head coach does a damn good job of getting these guys prepared. Our coaching staff, Coach Brown, I mean, they do a really good job of getting these guys prepared. We take nobody lightly. Definitely the word of every week is finish. So definitely, you definitely
great
always
word.
welcome. Huh? It's a great one.
Great word.
It's a phenomenal word. It is one that is chiseled.
Man, when I tell you, look, now let me say something.
Go ahead.
How?
Huh?
How?
Pardon me?
What happened?
Excuse me?
What happened?
Okay. Oh, earphone went up.
Hey, I feel like this has been a respectable distance of time now. I didn't say nothing.
That's true. That's true.
I
just fade away silently.
Even when I commentated the game, I said, man, Zach Branch is dog, but what happened? Bro, I almost left. I was heading towards the exit, and then I said, wait, I gotta give him the hood after the game. Next thing I know, it was like, oh, they just got an onside kick. Because I didn't even get the onside kick. Because we literally was leaving. And then I'm like, wait a second, what? And I said, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Great film. And I did it again. I said, wait a second. I was like, whoa.
Listen.
Yeah, I know you don't want to relive it, but just where was the breakdown?
Listen.
When did the foot come on
ESPN? I can't even get over.
First off, number one, we didn't appreciate you making all these little video clips talk about Gorman at practice. Oh, we doing film? Yeah. Oh yeah. We saw all that.
Running.
Yeah, we saw all that.
You said it yourself. They paying for it.
We saw all that. Listen, at the end of the day, we win as a team, we lose as a team.
Absolutely.
And it was definitely a tough situation. But it's one that we rebounded from, and with definite lesson learned. That don't happen on John Madden. What happened to us that night? Like you can play Madden and that wouldn't happen.
No,
again.
you know what? I was playing Madden earlier and I thought about that today. There was like a minute left. I'm like, it couldn't even happen in the game.
It couldn't.
At the Lee Summit game, they was losing by a field goal with a minute left, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're gonna lose." I seen crazy. I was like, I seen crazier, bro.
I really can't even give you the best explanation. All I can say is we've learned from it. I can say that we definitely have moved forward, but I stood right there and I still can't tell you exactly how something like that happens, because in all the years I've been around football, I have never seen that situation, and you will never see it again. And I guarantee you definitely won't see it happen to the Gorman Girls ever again in life. You bet that. Take it to the bank, lock it down, tink, tink, whatever you want to call it. Hey, we, him, all that good stuff. All of it. Put it all together. All of it. Not happening again, man. But look, gentlemen, I want to definitely thank y'all for coming out, man. I appreciate the time. I'll definitely get this up and edit it. And that's another episode of Hudrico Live in the books. Boom.